Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the WildWestGamer. You join me, the WildWestGamer, here in the Gaming Grotto, and today I have a film review for you. It is, of course, a film that everyone should be talking about at the moment, and it is Man of Steel. I saw it yesterday, last night. I planned to do a review straight afterwards, but it was a late screening and I was quite tired. But my wife treated me to an early anniversary present. And it was to go and see Man of Steel at our local cinema, and it just was amazing. It's so good, not only as a Superman film, but as a superhero film in general, as a DC, related film, as a Zack Snyder film, as a Christopher Nolan film, as a film in general. It is a really, really good film. Now, I'm going to address something first. I didn't go online. I didn't check out any other reviews. I wanted my own opinion to be, what I went into the cinema with. I wanted it just to be my own opinion. I've talked about the film with friends. We've had our opinions about it, but I've not let anything, make me biased. Because if I'm honest, I'm not a big fan of Superman. As a character in general, I think he's a bit of a Boy Scout. It kind of aggravates me that he is, for all intents and purposes, just quite simply, there's just not really any flaws with him. He's whiter than white. He's goody two shoes. He always gets the good. He's got all the brawn, all the powers. It just doesn't feel for me like he doesn't have any real flaws that a superhero should have to make them at least a little bit relatable. So going into this film, the trailers looked awesome, but at the same time, trailers always are designed to look awesome. There's always the feeling when you go into a cinema and you see a film and it turns out to be crap. You realise why the trailer was made to be, so good. The trailer basically picked up on like the best 5 minutes of the film. But no, so yeah, went to the cinema for Man of Steel thinking I don't like Superman. The trailers could be just, making it look better than it is. The fact that Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan seem to be really, being kind of big selling points behind the film. Is that because they're just trying to use their names to cash in on this? Is it genuinely at the studios perhaps feeling that there is, perhaps a reason to be slightly worried? Perhaps the film is average as opposed to being fantastic. Perhaps there's too many. I was genuinely thinking perhaps there's too many big names in this film. We've got Michael Shannon, we've got Russell Crowe, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, Henry Cavill. Who else we got? We got a lot of genuinely big Hollywood actors who have had big careers, and have a lot of very well-deserved praise. And I was worrying that were certain actors' egos going to mean that certain amounts of screen time were going to be dedicated to them. Because I'm not being funny, but some films it does become that. It does become certain actors throw hissy fits saying even though the film's about so and so, because it's, I'm whoever, I should get more screen time. None of that. No. I sat down, all of these thoughts going on in my head, all this stuff going, this film looks awesome and I've been really pumped up to see it, but now is D-Day, now is H hour. Is it going to be good? Because I thought if I'm sitting down so geared up for this is just like Prometheus. Sat down in that cinema and I began to immediately feel that something was wrong. No, I didn't. Not with this film. With Prometheus, I did. With this film, no. I sat down and within 10 minutes, well, not even that, within 5 minutes of this film being on, I was just like, this film is going to be good. This film is going to be really, really good. Now, I'm going to try and avoid spoilers in my review of it, but this may get difficult, and I'm going to warn you now, if there are spoilers in this and I accidentally say something, now is the time, and you guys may want to, perhaps turn off, go watch the film, come back and watch this and see if you agree. If not, then I'll plow on. I'll try and avoid spoilers, but if one slips out, I do apologise. So, Man of Steel starts with the birth of Kal-El. It begins with the birth of Kal-El, the first natural birth on Krypton for hundreds of years, Krypton has now sort of become a degenerated. It's sort of become slightly degenerated in the way that there's like a class system, and children are no longer naturally born. They are born via the Genesis pool, which is that all children, before they are even properly born, are grown for specific roles. So like diplomats, warriors, politicians, scientists, whatever they are, their life is chosen for them before birth. Kal-El represents the first of, well, what could be the future of Krypton. He's born naturally, he's naturally conceived, and he represents free will. He represents choice. He represents a new beginning for Krypton. Krypton is dying. Its planet has been mined and sort of harvested for natural resources far too aggressively, and its cores become unstable. Jor-El, played by Russell Crowe, knows that it is literally a matter of time before Krypton dies, completely, implodes and, is annihilated. And he goes to the Council of Krypton, and he says to the heads of the planet, the leaders of the planet, he says, why don't we go back out into space like we did in the earlier years of Krypton, and, set up colonies on other planets, and try and make a new Krypton somewhere else, free of the shackles that have led to this, free of the shackles that have led our society to where they are now, which is sort of a degenerated mess. At this point, General Zod, played by Michael Shannon, who is absolutely fantastic, launches a coup, throws out the Council of Krypton. Well, he kills some of them in one case, and he says to Jor-El, he says, we together can rebuild Krypton. We can save this dying planet. But Jor-El says no, because it's not up to you to choose again whose bloodlines should survive. What should, who people should be given free will. They should be given choice. They should be given the right to live their own lives. And he says, I will not allow myself, I will not, what's nice is that it's not one of those moments where it's blatantly like the good guy's just a dick to the bad guy's a dick to the good guy. Jor-El says to Zod, I remember when you were a good man. I will honour the memory of the man you used to be, but not this. This is not this monster you've become. And there's a respect between Jor-El and Zod, and I really like that in this film. It's not just there's a bad guy, there's a good guy, it's white and black. There is genuine reasons, the motivations behind every character in this film is entirely believable, and I love it. I love that for a start. It really makes a superhero film something more than just a superhero film when you believe that everyone in the film does something for a reason, that they believe in their motivations. It's not just, I'm bad because I'm meant to be bad, the plot says so. So, Jor-El, after escaping Zod's forces, goes back to his wife and to Kal-El, after taking the Codex, the Codex of Krypton, which is basically the DNA and sort of the blueprint of every Kryptonian, which is used to create the new Kryptonians. He takes that, and he places it within the baby Kal-El, and he says to his wife, who is called Lana. Yes, Lana. He says to her, he needs to go somewhere. We need to set him free of Krypton. Krypton is dying. He can't stay here. He's in danger. The Kryptonians will never allow a natural birth to happen. It represents it's basically chaos. It's chaos personified for them. There is no way of controlling that. The child will have, a greater sense of free will because he's been born to do what he wants. It represents something that the stagnant society of Krypton will not allow. So he, along with the Codex, he puts Kal-El into the famous pod, and they select Earth, and they talk about. It's a very touching moment. It's a very heartbreaking moment, especially as a parent, to see these two parents give up their child when they know that when they know that he could be going to somewhere that is dangerous. And I love the line. I love the line where Lana says, he'll be an outcast to them. They may try to kill him. And Jor-El turns to her and says, "How? How will they kill him? He will be a god to them." And he can rise up amongst them and lead them. Lead them in. He can be the leader they need. And I love it. I love the fact that Jor-El sees his son as this sort of vision, this pillar of, sort of this pillar of union and sort of good to be used. He's not seeing his son as, being the, old Stars and Stripes, God Save America Superman. He's seeing him as being the beacon of hope Superman, the one that I like, not the whole jingoistic aspect of Superman. I like the whole aspect of Superman being that outsider who comes and because of his strength and his, and his abilities can save the world from itself. He can save humanity from himself, and that is the Superman we get in this film. Now, they send Kal-El to Earth, and I'm not going to tell you anymore. Kal-El lands on Earth, of course. He is then found by Jonathan and Martha Kent, and the rest, as you know, is history, is comic book history. But that's it. We get that beginning segment of them casting Kal-El off into space, of the coup of Zod, of Zod's trial because the coup fails, the trial of Zod, his imprisonment in the Phantom Zone along with his soldiers, and the eventual destruction of Krypton. That's what we get. We get that. Then, and literally, as you follow the pod as it's flying through space, as it's flying, through the solar system, as it's landing on Earth, just as it's about to hit the ground, bam, we cut to a fully grown Superman, Kal-El, with fully grown Clark Kent. And that's great. For a start, I was like going, wow, this is different. This isn't an origin film, because it's not. Man of Steel is not an origin film. Do not be worried about that. Me and my wife talked at great length about this. I said, superhero films nowadays die because they are far too interested in telling origin stories. We get it's fun to watch a superhero learn how to use his powers or her powers. It's fun to watch them get into that suit or create the suit that we all know they wear. It's fun to watch them sort of become that character. But after the 17th fucking time, it gets a little bit boring, and Hollywood still hasn't caught onto this notion until now. Man of Steel is not an origin story. It does its own thing. It tells you how he gets to Earth, how the motivations and the beginnings of sort of confrontations between characters and future events, how they begin, where they come from and where they start, and why certain things happen. But that is used as the beginning point for the rest of the journey. It's not saying this is the beginning because we're telling the origin story. You need to understand how he was born and then see him land on Earth and then see him as a kid growing and gaining his powers. Doesn't do that. The beginning is just about you seeing the society of Krypton, how it has become degenerated and stagnant, why the planet's going to blow up, be destroyed, and learning, seeing the motivations of Zod, of Jor-El, and sort of the importance of Kal-El. That's it. That's all you really. That's the only reason why it's shown as a genuine beginning to the plot. Not because this is an origin film and they want to show off Krypton and all that shit. No. And it's fantastic. I really like that. So yeah, then we cut to Kal-El, sorry, cut to because this thing, he's not really Clark Kent yet. He's when we meet Henry Cavill, who is fantastic in this film. That boy is going to be getting calls from Hollywood like you ain't going to believe from now on. He's just fantastic. When we meet Kal, he is a grown man. He is traveling the world, doing odd jobs, sort of being a guardian angel. He's sort of when he needs to, he throws off the role of this just ordinary person, and he is, he's a fisherman, he's a barman, he's this, that, and the other. but when the moment happens, when he needs to, he steps in to save the day as this anonymous, figure, this sort of urban legend. And it's fantastic to see, because we see him again. He's not doing this because he's Superman. He's doing this because he feels, and we learn why later on. And I'm going to try. It's hard to give this sort of grounded sense of, genuine reason without telling you why he's going around saving people just like sort of randomly. But there is a reason later on, and I may have to say, because I can't explain it properly without it. But he's sort of traveling the world, doing odd jobs, sort of trying to find his place in society. He's very aware he's not normal, he's not a human being. And he, when the moment needs to, he saves people's lives. And he, like I say, he's been growing this sort of urban legend around himself, which has attracted the attention of Lois Lane. Who, again, played by Amy Adams, who is fantastic in this film, is really good. She's not just the love interest or, the pair of boobs. She is a fully developed character who, is not nearly as irritating as Katie Bosworth's interpretation in Superman Returns. She is really, really good in this. She's likable, she's funny, you go, wow, you're really, really well developed, intelligent character. And I like you. This is good. And it's not forced at all, their whole sort of chemistry throughout the film. They just naturally work together. Cal finds himself sort of in the... Well, I think it's meant to be implied that he's deliberately managed to worm his way in, because he himself is, listening out for any sort of rumours about, of like alien technology and anything, because he's sort of feeling that, he needs to find out where he came from, and he feels that there is perhaps more stuff of his home planet on Earth, and he manages to find his way into sort of being the cargo unloading guy up in the Arctic region, where the it's in Canada, sorry, where the Americans have found an anomaly under the ice, and it is a Kryptonian spaceship. It's not the Fortress of Solitude. It's not. I thought it would be, but it's not, and I like it. There's no Fortress of Solitude per se in this film, so fanboys, that may cause you to flip out. I don't know. And yeah, Lois Lane is investigating it because she wants to, she wants to find out what's going on. She's inquisitive, and this is where we sort of start gaining real momentum with the film. Lois Lane, whilst investigating this supposed object under the ice, which the Americans are quite keen to get their hands on, she discovers Kal-El walking around at night time, in the sub-zero freezing temperatures, in nothing but a t-shirt and trousers, which makes her go, this is rather unusual. She follows him into the ship, where we get to see him use his eye blast, which is very cool. Again, it's all been done very well, and we see him begin to learn about his past when he gets in the ship. We're reunited with a previous character via some nifty technology, and I don't want to say too much. It's going to become me rambling and me just like saying stuff and trying to avoid big spoilers. That's enough. That's all you need to know. Really it is. I'm not going to try and spoil it anymore. There's no point in me saying it. This film is just really good. Because Superman is, like I said, Superman is a character who can be done as the whiter than white, or he can be done with a little bit of an edge. And I think when you do him with a little bit of an edge, what you bring with that is the more believable aspects. If you are an invincible godlike alien from another planet who cannot find his place in society, would you be, oh well, I'm going to go and save the day, or would you be a little bit pissy about it? Would you be a little bit like, who am I? What is my point in this world? Why should I care about these people when they wouldn't even accept me if I stepped up in front of them? And the two characters that really, of course, help with this dilemma he faces are Kevin Costner's Jonathan Kent and Russell Crowe's Jor-El. The pair of them are fantastic. It is often spoken about with Superman, the two fathers of Superman, his human one and his Kryptonian one. Both of the actors in this film are fantastic. Jor-El is constantly saying to him, you can be the beacon of hope they need. You can be the one that rises up and leads them. They will stumble. They will fall behind you. They will lose their way. But you can be the one to lead them on the path and stop them from reenacting what happened on Krypton. That is what Jor-El wants him to be, the savior of the human race. He knows that they will eventually one day become the Kryptonians. They will inadvertently, fall. They will inadvertently fall like the Kryptonians did, and he wants Kal-El to save them. Likewise, Jonathan Kent, out of love for his son, he says, I can't protect you from the world if they find out who you are and what you can do. That's why he has to ask his son, as hard as it is, to try and hide certain aspects of himself. Because out of love for his son, he doesn't want to see his son become a freak. And there's a very poignant scene which is in the trailer where he sat on, he saved a bunch of children from a bus going over the edge of off the side of a bridge, and that includes saving on the bus one of the bullies who was tormenting him for being a bit of an oddball. He even saves him, which is really good because we see the beginnings of this sense of right in him, that even though this person is bullying him, is giving him a hard time, he still deserves to live. He's a child, he's an idiot, he's a fool, he doesn't know what he's doing yet. And young Kal-El saves him then. And we see Jonathan Kent, we see young, excuse me, we see young Kal-El say to his father, what should I have done? Should I have let them die? And Jonathan Kent says to him, maybe you should have done, because sometimes people are stupid. People aren't ready to understand what they don't understand. They're scared of that, and they'll be scared of him, and they'll come for him. He shows this is the moment when he reveals to young Clark and young Kal-El where he came from, the spaceship and everything like that. And it's quite a touching moment where his son says to him, I don't want to, where Clark Kent says to Jonathan Kent, I don't want to be this person. Can't I just be your son? And Jonathan Kent grabs him and holds him and says, you will always be my son. Nothing's going to change that. It's just that you have to understand that you came from somewhere else, and we have to believe that the reason you were sent was for a good reason. Because, of course, there is the whole aspect of being this strong, being this powerful. There are two sides to the coin. Either he was sent here to, for good, or sent here for bad. There is no reason why Superman couldn't wipe out the world if he wanted to. He is that strong. And then, of course, as we see him grow up, we see him learning his responsibilities via different lessons in his life. And we see him. The film begins really with him, taking on the mantle, and that's what I like. It does away, like I said, it does away with the origin story. Imagine Batman, but imagine the Batman series if it had started with The Dark Knight, and then in between bits in The Dark Knight, we were given flashbacks to Batman Begins. That is kind of what this film is like. It doesn't sit you down and go, here's 30 to 45 minutes worth of exposition of nothing but learning about how he becomes Superman. Then with the last, half an hour, we're going to have the introduction of a, poorly developed villain and the first big fight scene. That's not what this is. Not at all. It is like The Dark Knight with clips of, the most important parts of Batman Begins cut in between. And I really like that about this film. And that's why when people say to me, I really want to see Man of Steel, I just don't want to see an origin film, you're not. You're not seeing an origin story. You are seeing Superman. The film starts with him taking up the mantle as Superman. The only little bit of sort of developing his powers we see is of him flying. That's the only bit. That's the only bit we see of him sort of learning it. And that's kind of believable because he knows he can jump. He knows he can fight. He's very strong. He knows he's got the eye blast. He has X-ray vision. His senses are more attuned. More acute. But he doesn't know he can fly. So we learn that. And yeah, it's really good. Now, on the other side of that is Zod. When Zod finally is, when Krypton is destroyed, Zod is released from the Phantom Zone, and he then sets out across the stars looking for, carrying on looking for what he was looking for in the first place. The Codex of Krypton, the power to give him the ability to restart Krypton in his own image, which is a terrifying thought. Zod's character in this film is not two-dimensional. He is not the kneel before Zod of the previous Superman film, the Christopher Reeve Superman film. The Zod in this one believes he can resurrect Krypton, and he believes he can do it right. He believes he can do it better than it was done before. And the reason for this is because Krypton was destroyed. However Krypton was led in the past, clearly didn't do it much good. And that is a believable reason for why Zod does what he does. If you were the military commander of a planet-wide force, and you had the strength and the might to lead people, and the way you led your soldiers was always in victory, was always in glory, yet when you looked across at the politicians and you saw that the most powerful of your people couldn't even save their own planet, wouldn't you feel angry? Wouldn't you feel like everything you'd done had been in vain? I think I would have. And that's why when Zod leads this coup, when Zod comes to Earth and wants to, says to Kal-El, I want to restart Krypton. I want to save it. That's why I go, yeah. You know what? If it wasn't for the fact that he'd become a little bit sort of callous from his time in the Phantom Zone, I could kind of get behind him on that. If he didn't want to do it on Earth, that would be better, but I can kind of get why this guy wants to do it. He says he says in his message briefing, I'm not here to rule you. I'm not here to destroy you. I am here simply for the return of Kal-El. I simply want him, and I want what's mine, and I will leave you in peace. Now, of course, when he's introduced to Kal-El, it's not like this, your dad was a dick, I'm going to hate you. He genuinely extends the hand of friendship to Kal-El. It's just that because of Kal-El's life spent amongst the humans, he's grown to love them and understand that while we are young and rash, we are also we also have the capability to be better and something more we have the capability to be just as brilliant as the Kryptonians, and with his leadership we could be better than them. And so when Zod says, I'm gonna restart Krypton on Earth, how do you fancy joining me? Kal-El goes, no, I can't be part of that. I can't let genocide be the first act of a new Krypton. And so he stands against Zod. Cue epic fight scenes fucking galore in this film. It's like Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan sat down and watched Superman Returns and went, yeah, we can do more fight scenes in this film than all of the Superman films together. And we're going to have him fighting people. And fucking hell are the fight scenes in this film just insane. People getting punched across skylines, people punched through buildings collapsing, fucking world engines crashing into the earth, gravity beams, spaceships, laser fights, massive battles. Insane. It's absolutely insane. It's so just, you feel the power of Superman and the Kryptonians in this film. You appreciate how strong Superman is, and it is awesome. I mean, the bit where Zod threatens Martha Kent and Superman just takes him out is fucking awesome. He doesn't. That's not even the ending fight, but that's just when Zod learns of his human mother. And Superman's just smashing him, flying him at like max speeds through the ground, smashing him across the ground, punching him in the face. And I mean, big kudos to the SFX guys. Sound and visuals are just fantastic, because you feel in every punch, in every time one of them takes off and is flying, you feel the power they have. It is incredible. It is so good. These like punches are like miniature earthquakes. And it is really, really, really good to see. It's just really, you appreciate the power they have, and he is Superman. Likewise, they managed to get lots of the really iconic moments of him like flying above the ground, above the earth. It doesn't look cheesy, it doesn't look gimmicky, it looks really good. Some nice effect on when he's flying, like when he breaks the sound barrier, then I sort of air burst around him. Really good stuff like that. Likewise, I've said before in some of my previous videos, his cloak is all CG, which means it allows for a really epic flowy cape. Really like that. That's a really nice touch, because if you want to do Superman right, stay away from the cheesy sort of red underpants thing. A lot of people again said this, he's not got his the red underpants on. Really? Would that ever work? Would it ever really work in a Superman film to have red underpants on it? I don't think so. His suit looks better. There's this whole sort of techno-organic quality to Krypton, and that comes through in his suit. All of it's sort of quite there's sort of this really nice sort of italic sort of glyph-like structure to all of the writing and stuff like that. So while it does look like an S on his chest, it kind of at the same time looks like an alien symbol. At the same time, there's some sort of sort of swishing lines around it. It's sort of S-like, but enough of it to make you go, well, that could just by coincidence be something else. And all of the houses on Krypton have their own symbol, so there's this idea that that's not just an S on his chest by coincidence. It is. There's this glyph-like system for the different houses of Krypton, and that's why his is that's why he wears it on his chest. Likewise, his suit looks very cool on the cuffs and around the hips. There's sort of like these. Again, there's this similar sort of these sort of quite spiraling sort of marks on it, like sort of like I guess house markings or like battle markings or something like that. Sort of to signify who he is. He is a Kryptonian. He is the son of his father. Perhaps I don't know. This is the thing. There's so much to look at in this film. There's so much to the visual element to it, as well as the story. Everything tells a story. Everything tells a story just by looking at them. By looking at Zod's armor. By looking at by looking at the ships. By looking at everything. They all have a really fantastic look to them, which is really great, because when you're dealing with an alien race that looks similar to humans, you sort of have to. It's in those little things where you distinguish that they aren't human. I mean, that sounds silly to say. In the story, we know there are humans and Kryptonians, but in the film, it's very hard unless you do unless there's a great differing aesthetic between humans and aliens. It sort of just meshes. It's very easy just to sort of go, they're just humans wearing funny clothes, but it's not. You believe the Kryptonians in this are aliens. They look like humans, yeah, sure, but they aren't, and that's good, because that's the important thing. Because when Superman is Superman, I believe he is an alien. I believe he is this alien godlike being. But when he is in sort of Clark Kent mode, and he's not really Clark Kent yet in this, he's still just not Superman. Yeah, he's still that, he's still just kind of acting a bit like a human. So we see him drinking a beer, watching football, American football, stuff like that. We see him sort of doing, sort of human bits and bobs. It's him sort of acting like a human, but at least we see that element to him. It's like his training for when he properly becomes Clark Kent. When he's Superman, though, he really holds that power. He really does, and that aspect is shared by the rest of the Kryptonians. They feel like they have this power and like majesty about them, and that's the same with Russell Crowe when he's on screen, Michael Shannon, Henry Cavill. all of the Kryptonians really feel like they have this power, like they hold themselves very awesomely. And yeah, that's really it. I mean, you've got all the other actors, the supporting actors. Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White, editor of the Daily Planet. He's really cool in this. I really like him. We don't get too much of him, but we get everyone's just really intelligent. It's really refreshing to have this really intelligent aspect to everyone. Perry White refuses to publish an article by Lois Lane about her findings with the Kryptonian ship in the Arctic. He refuses, saying, God, can you imagine what people would be like if they knew that there was an alien running around amongst us? He's like, could you fathom how freaked out people would be? And she sort of looks at him and he's like, that's why I'm not going to publish it. Not because it's a crap article, because I'm not going to publish it because I don't want to be responsible for causing mass hysteria. And you go, yeah, I get with that. Likewise, he's shown to be a very, very decent guy. During the final third act of the film, he's actively trying to save people, and look out for them. Scale of this film, of course, just sort of, wondering, the third act is where it really kicks off for this film. This film probably goes up against the level of chaos and destruction the Avengers has, and then triples it. The scale of this film means that the next one is gonna be fucking insane. Like, the scale of chaos and destruction in this film is just insane. I mean, they really go for it in this. They are really saying, this is Superman, this is how his fights are, and it is fantastic. It is so refreshing to see Superman just taking on, motherfuckers and laying into them. There is no, he's not holding back in this film. He's saving people's lives, but when it comes to taking out the bad guys, he's taking the motherfuckers out. It is really, really cool. Likewise, little Easter eggs in the film. There's nothing forced down your throat. It's just look out for little bits and bobs. There's a bit where you see a truck drive past and it's got LexCorp on the side, and I was just like, whoa, LexCorp. I was just like, little things like that. Really refreshing. Really, it's not like, look, TV really blatantly put, with Lex Luthor on it. Not at all. Not at all. This is about this is about Zod and Superman. This is not about, trying to shoehorn in little gimmicky things about future villains or whatever. So, it's really good. It's really good to see that, at least for those of you who are keen-eyed, just look out for it. If not, don't worry about it. Yeah, I mean, I've tried putting it into words how much I enjoyed this film. It is so, so good. Special effects, story, sound, editing, lighting, costume design, casting, everything is so fantastic. I kind of said it to my wife, and then I wasn't sure if I should have said it or not, but I went, I kind of whispered to her because I don't want people to hear in case I got jumped. But I went, I kind of enjoyed that more than Batman. And then I told it to one of my friends, because we went to, on the way home, we stopped in at the store where I work. And I said to him the same thing. I said, I kind of enjoy that more than Batman. He said, well, that's because Superman's more fun. It's because Superman is not all about. Superman is not Batman. They are two sides of the same coin. In respects. Whereas one is the justice, freedom, and all that good stuff. And is the strongest superhero. Basically after Hulk and Thor. You then have Batman, who is just a man who has some gadgets and gizmos, who believes in justice, but done his way, which is by punishment and pain and fear. And that's why you sort of forget, after 3 Batman films, it's a lot of suffering and a lot of fear and a lot of punishment and a lot of like, that was a bit intense emotionally. This one has got the emotional kicks, and there are moments where I'm not ashamed to say I did have a tear or two. because there are some heartbreaking moments in this film, but some beautifully well done moments. And yeah, I came out of it going, you know what, number 2 and number 3, just, you know what, just make these films a trilogy, please. Just do a Dark Knight, just do a Man of Steel trilogy. Seriously, this could really be a big trilogy. Batman Begins, I'm going to give the example now. This is the Batman Begins for Man of Steel. Yeah, really is. It is not by far like the best it can be. Yeah, but that's because it's been deliberately done. You've seen him take on Zod. Now for the sequel, yeah, we know now all this sort of stuff. We've had this light origin story. It's not an origin story, like I said, but we understand where he came from and stuff like that. When you do the sequel, yeah, clearly it's going to be more about that human aspect of him and the alien aspect of him coming together, him knowing how he is, trying to fit it into his life, like fit the sort of responsibilities of both aspects of his life into the one, and dealing with a big threat, or perhaps a more personal threat. See, this is the thing. If it's going to be Lex Luthor for the next film, and this is me now just hypothetical situation, Lex Luthor would pose a lot more of a Joker style threat to Superman, like Joker did for Batman, because Lex Luthor is about pushing his emotional buttons. He's a jealous, angry man who is jealous of Superman's powers. We could see it'd be a lot more interesting to see how someone would push his emotional buttons, sort of perhaps cause him to have to sacrifice certain things, see Superman pushed to the edge of where he's willing to go. That would be interesting. Or just go up and away and just go for fucking Darkseid or Brainiac or someone. But remember, if you're going for the epic scale, try and set it realistically, because if you go, this was fucking epic, man. This film did a lot of damage and a lot of destruction. If you're going to go bigger, you're going to have to go into space. You're going to have to go higher up. You're going to have to really go big on this one. And I would be wary of whether or not you could do it. So we'll see who is in the next one. But loved Man of Steel, really recommend it. Definitely worth getting. There is no Easter egg. That is a big thing, and that's not a spoiler. It has been said about before, but there is no Easter egg. So all of you guys wait until after the credits to, see if you see Superman hovering above the building top, for hearing a dark and gravelly voice speak to him from about out of the darkness about having a plan, or joining them or something like that. Perhaps getting a sight of a new Batman or a Green Lantern or a Flash or something like that. Ain't gonna happen. It ain't in this film. I was wishing it for, and I've got to be honest with you, I thought at one point I knew where the Hall of Justice was gonna be. Yeah, the Watchtower. Sorry, I was like, this looks funny. This looks quite similar. A certain set looked quite similar to something I'm used to seeing out of the Justice League cartoon, and I was like, he wonders, and then it didn't. That won't happen. But I was like, you know what? They're clearly teasing at things. They've got to be teasing at stuff. So whether it be Man of Steel 2 or Superman or whatever it'll be called, or if it'll be a Justice League movie first, just make sure Henry Cavill is involved. He's a really, really good actor. He's quickly become one of my favourites to look out for. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from, guys. But check out Man of Steel. It's awesome. It's epic. It's big. It does right what everything did wrong in the past. You're gonna love it. And if you don't like Superman, I kind of think you're gonna love it anyway. So check it out, guys. And Marvel with the old Avengers 2 and all the sort of Phase 2 Avengers stuff and all that sort of stuff. In fact, all Marvel films from now on, you may want to be a little bit worried. I think there's a new boy on the block, and I don't think he's sort of pulling any punches. So see how this goes. I think that Warner Bros. Have certainly come a cropper with something that's going to be a winner. So we'll see. See what happens, yeah? But as long as Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan are involved, I think they got it. They got it nipped in the bud. So, awesome. I will see you guys later on. Thank you very much for watching. It's like 3/4 of an hour, this review, but the film deserves it. Hope you guys could stick around for it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Keep subscribing, please. Keep leaving comments, leaving likes, leaving messages, stuff like that. Really trying to push now and get the old channel sort of really gearing up for getting 1,000 views. And just thanks very much, guys, for those of you who regularly tune in. It means a lot to me. We get views from all around the world now. It's just really good. Yeah, I'm really, really, really glad that you guys are sort of taken to the channel. And thanks very much. And yeah, see you guys later. Take it easy. From me, the Wild West Gamer. Bye. Have fun. See you later, guys.